In this YouTube video, we're going to review the Lynwo F4 Fit Band. It's a $21 alternative to the Fitbit, which is $200 or more. Banggood sent this one to me for review, so let's take a look at this thing and see how well it does. It has a heart rate monitor, blood pressure monitor, does a lot of different things. Run monitor, calorie monitor, pedometer, sleep monitor as well, all into a $21 package. Let's first take a look at the heart rate monitor. So it takes a reading every 30 minutes, or does an average over those 30 minutes, and it does a pretty good job. I'll show you the 48 data points in 24 hours. And as you can see here, there's the 48 data points, and you can scroll through it, click on any one and see it's 109, and then when you're sleeping you can click on it, 55, or 50. So you can see your heart rate from when you're sleeping all the way up to when you're walking to work, when you're running around doing your daily errands, and you can also scroll through here to see what your average heart rate was in that 30-minute period. I think it takes a couple readings in there and then averages it out. So even if you have a couple wrong readings because you're moving your hand around too much, you have to read it properly. So I'd say the heart rate monitor works very well on this thing. Next up is the blood pressure monitor. The data stored on the actual watch doesn't get transferred to the phone. If you want to record your blood pressure monitor data, you actually have to run it from the phone and push play there. It takes about a minute to read your blood pressure, and as you see here, once it starts to read the heart rate, you can feel the drop or sense the drop in pressure, and you see it's ramping down there. You got to stay very still while this is occurring, otherwise it'll mess up that graph. And as you can see, it has that bright light there. And I'm screwing up the graph completely. But it says there's data anyways, so we'll save that. And since we saved that, there should be one reading right there, and that one reading, it'll tell you, it'll list it on the bottom, or you can click on it on the graph and you can see it's 117/78. But when I say this is not accurate, it's because it's always given some sort of reading that's normal. It doesn't say if it's low blood pressure for someone with a low blood pressure or high blood pressure for someone with high blood pressure. I went to one of the drugstores and tested the blood pressure of someone who has a lower blood pressure, and the one in the drugstore worked properly, but the watch doesn't correlate to the reading of the one in the drugstore at all. And I'm pretty sure the one in the drugstore is a little more accurate than most. Okay, let her rip. This is a standard blood pressure monitor that you can get at PharmaSmart. Okay, so this machine says it's 92/63, and now we're going to test it with the M4. So it says 120/80, which is completely different than what this large machine got, so you can say that it's a gimmick and completely false. So the blood pressure monitor is cool to have, but I wouldn't rely on it at all, and I wouldn't think it's accurate at all. The pedometer is pretty good actually, and I'll show you that here. So on July 1st, I woke up late and I walked a good 8 kilometers, 9,610 steps, and I burned 523,000 calories. And you can see the table here. It tells you when you walk the most steps in 30-minute windows. So it gives you a bunch of 30-minute bins basically, and in those 30 minutes I walked a lot at around 6 to 6:30. That's when I was walking back to my car. So the pedometer and calorie monitor, distance monitor works very well. Next one's the sleep monitor, and that one works really well also. So it tells you how much deep sleep you have, how much light sleep you have, the duration of your sleep, 7 hours and 35 minutes, and it tells you the sleep quality. So this one's good, and then there's an excellent somewhere, or a great. So 8 hours and 15 minutes of duration, and it actually tracks when you fall asleep and when you wake up very well. I think it knows when you go to lie down and you're not just moving a lot, and it can tell you're not walking around. So it knows. It's kind of creepy how it knows when you go to sleep and when you wake up, but the technology is there, and it knows using the accelerometers. It probably knows exactly when you're not moving around and you're laying there. And then the run monitor is pretty cool. And the thing is, you got to start it when you start your run and make sure you turn it off after your run. If you forget to turn it off, it might be kind of weird. So it does a pretty good job of mapping where you've run, start point, end point, and where you actually are running. So if you ran across the city like that, it'll probably trace that out, and then you can share that with people on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Flickr, and it'll tell them how far you went, distance, 0.23 kilometers, the duration, which is kind of weird because the duration is underneath your speed, 9 kilometers per hour, your pace of 6 minutes and 40 seconds per kilometer, and I burned 14,000 calories. So that's a pretty good function, and it seems to work very well. And then the last thing that's important to note is the alarm, and you can set 3 different alarms. So if you have to catch a flight or something in the morning and you have to wake up at 6:30, then you can set that at 6:30 and this thing will start vibrating. There's no beeping or anything, but it'll vibrate pretty violently and wake you up in the morning. You don't want to use that to wake up every morning, but it's good for when you actually have to get to an interview or a meeting or the airport. Definitely useful for that. Just make sure you charge the battery up. You don't want it to die in the middle of the night. And it's actually pretty easy to charge. You just pop that off and you plug this into any USB port. Laptop, phone charger. They also provided you with this little extension, so you can pop that in there and easily plug this into anything. So I usually plug that in when I shower, and then once I'm done showering, it's ready to go. So I charge it daily because the battery only lasts about 2 days, 48 hours straight. So make sure you charge it daily. You got to go to dashboard once a day and pull down to synchronize the data, and then you'll have all your heart rate data and your sleep quality and everything. You have to wake up and walk around for about 30 minutes to an hour before your sleep data is generated, but once that's generated you can sync it and you'll see that. So those are the main functions, and there's also the text and call display. I'll quickly send myself a message and I'll show you what that looks like. I'll text myself David Sunshine 867, and you'll see it has about 12 characters that it shows up. So not the entire thing, but enough to show you what someone's trying to say. So there you go, David Sun, and it stops at the N. Doesn't show the E, 8, 6, or 7. And it vibrates when it shows that. So let's check my test scores from beginning and work our way down to the bottom. The heart rate monitor, I'd say it's within 3 beats per minute, so it's 4 out of 5 stars. It has a pretty bright light, so I'm taking 1 star off. There's laser heart rate monitors, and at nighttime this green light can get a little bit annoying, so you might actually see it. The blood pressure monitor is not good in this. It's fun to have, but that's about it. It's just a gimmick, I'd say. So I'd give it 0 out of 5 stars, since it doesn't really work, and it's plus or minus 30 millimeters of mercury. The pedometer works very well. I don't think it can work any better, so I'd give it 5 out of 5 stars. Sleep monitor is 5 out of 5 because it works very well. Now the text, half of them are basically not working because it depends on the Bluetooth connection, and that's not always connected, so it's 2 out of 5 stars. It's a fail for me. For it to be 5 out of 5 stars, it'd have to get every single text through, and it would have to scroll the text so you can see more of it. The run monitor works very well. I give it 5 out of 5 stars because I want to see where I've run, how fast I've gone, and the duration of my run and how many calories I've burned. This does all that, and I would actually take this on runs because it works very well. It uses the GPS of the iPhone, so it's very accurate. You can share it with your friends and say, hey look, I ran across the entire city in 10 minutes. The OLED display looks pretty cool at nighttime. Now where it fails is this is bright, and OLEDs are good in the sun, but for some reason when the sun hits this you can't even see it anymore. So it has very poor functionality in the sun. And as you can see here, the Garmin watch, you can see no problem, but this one, in comparison, you can't even read the numbers. So I give it 3 out of 5 stars. It's not quite a fail, but it's not actually considered good 4 or 5 stars. Water resistance of this thing is very poor. It's supposed to be IP67, so it can be submersion to a meter for 30 minutes. I took a shower with this twice, and on the second shower, water got in behind the screen, and then after that, when I washed the dishes or washed my hands, water started getting into the screen. So this is not really waterproof at all, and I think if I got any more water in there, it would have broke it. So treat this like a non-waterproof watch. Don't take it into the shower. Definitely don't take it swimming. One trip to the swimming pool and I think it's toast. But for $21, it is still a good deal, because I'm not going to pay 200 bucks for something that does exactly what this thing does, but it just has water resistance. I mean, I took a shower with this twice and it survived, so it does have some pretty good water resistance, but I wouldn't get it too wet. Just don't treat it like a completely waterproof watch. So I give it 0 to 5 stars because it claimed IP67, but it's barely IP65. It works on both the iOS and Android platforms, so I'd say that's pretty good. Covers everything. There's no Blackberries out there anymore, so it doesn't really matter. The H-band application installed and worked very well. I'd say it's 5 out of 5 stars. Perfect. I really wouldn't change much with it, except maybe give it data export, but that's not a deal breaker. The Bluetooth connection seems to work well when you want it to connect, but to stay connected it seems to be a little iffy because half the text messages don't show up. And then when you're running that real-time heart rate monitor, you have to keep the phone basically within 6 inches, otherwise I think it disconnects. So I give it 2 out of 5 stars for the connectivity. The historical data is pretty good in this thing. It keeps a lot of that data in the app, but if you lose that app, I think you lose all the data, so that kind of sucks. You should be able to export it. The heart rate monitor records 30-minute intervals, and that's pretty cool. That's mainly why I would get something like this. The blood pressure monitor doesn't record the data, but that doesn't really matter because the blood pressure monitor kind of sucks. So I give it 4 to 5 stars for historical data. The battery life in this thing is 48 hours, and to me that's not very good because you're going to have to charge it every day, and I think it should actually last a whole week. But that might be a lot to expect out of something that has such a small battery and does so many things. I think 51 hours is probably an impressive amount of time, but I just expect more out of it. So I'm giving it 2 out of 5 stars. I don't know how this compares to the other watches, but 2 days is not very good in my books. It takes 1 hour and 27 minutes for a full charge, so it doesn't take a long time to charge, but that's not that fast either. Now the build quality of this thing is very good. It feels very nice on the wrist. You almost don't notice it at all. It's very light, and the clip actually holds very tight. And I thought that this thing would come off a lot easier, so it can easily pop out, but it takes quite a bit of force to pull this out. And I've been pulling this out a lot to charge, and it hasn't actually gotten any looser. This is like the first day I got it. That is tight. You can actually pull it out from the bottom too. That bottom one pulls out a little easier even than the USB one, even though I've been pulling the USB one in and out. So the materials they used is very good, and it's not going to wear down anytime soon. They say this is a stainless steel bezel, and it seems to be holding up very well. The plastic hasn't irritated me any, and it doesn't show any signs of wear or tear, even though I've been wearing it for a good couple weeks. I like the strap. It's easy to pop in, and the stainless steel logo on the back looks pretty cool, and it feels really good. This is a good quality watch. You'll want to wear it, and you won't feel like you have a piece of garbage on your wrist. If they made it waterproof, this thing would be a lot better. But for $21, I wouldn't complain. So in conclusion, $21 is a fair price to pay for this. If you're looking for a band that can do all those functions I showed you, this one will do it all. The only thing it's missing is the water resistance. So you can't go swimming with this. You can't wear it to every single shower. If you need that water resistance, definitely don't get this and check out another watch. But if tracking your heart rate and your calories, your runs, your sleep, and all that is what you really want, then this one will do all that for $21. Thank you to Banggood for sending this to me for a review. It was a pretty cool watch. I like reviewing it, and I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you want to support my channel, check out the links in the description. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.